Douala, where security forces cracked down on inhabitants of Balibu took to the streets this morning dressed in black outfits. The residents of Bali protested against land grabbing. Security forces present at the scene used tear gas and water cannons to disperse them. It happened earlier this morning in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. In the southwest region, the population of Boya witnessed a display of the elephant dance accompanied by members of the Nganya Secret Society. The peaceful outing was a call for ancestors to come to their rescue as they pay homage to late John Monono, killed by a military officer last Monday, November 15, 2021. My media Prime's Moki Regan witnessed a peaceful demonstration and now reports.
Welcome to the political capital of the southwest region, Boya, the town of legendary hospitality. Is the elephant dance, which is known as the Malay dance of the Mokwe people. They are parading the streets of Boya to call the ancestors of the land, to call the god of the mountain, Ipasamoto, and that of the sea, Nyangola Munya, to be calm because of the incident that took place on Monday, the 15th of November 2021, where John Monono, a member of the Sacred Court of the Nganya dance, was shot by a military officer. So they are here today in Boya to tell the God to be calm and calling for the ancestors to intercede for them for peace to be restored in the town of Boya. It should equally be noted before they mount the street of Boya, they visited where Monono was buried, and some manifestation took place at the level of the compound of late John Monono. At the moment, this is the cultural group. They are being received here by the prestigious Nganya dance. And equally in Boya, traffic has been brought to a halt because of this cultural manifestation by the elephant dance of the Bakwe people. And they are saying in one voice that enough is enough. Peace must return in Boya, the town of legendary hospitality. And equally, it should equally be noted that they equally made a stop at checkpoint where some rituals took place. They make a stop at the My 70 Motor Park to call the ancestors of the land. And equally saying what is happening in Boya, they are equally crying that their fathers, their ancestors come to their aid. That is why the Malay is out here in Boya today for this special assignment. For My Media Prime Television, the African Eye, I am Tioberega Moki, signing off.
Diobere Ganmoki reports in there onto something else. Almost a week after the director of the St. Elizabeth Catholic General and Cardiac Center in Kumbo announced the government forces invaded the hospital in search of separated fighters, officials have remained silent. Katrina Kongwe read through the director's release and now reports.
It is almost a week now since soldiers reported attacked the St. Elizabeth Catholic General Hospital Shinshong in Kumbo and tortured staff. Authorities in this division have since then remained silent to this act. This act was committed on Sunday, November 14, 2021, but it's yet to be reprimanded by their commanding officers or administrative head on Bui Division where this hospital is found. The hospital director, Reverend Sister Ashoma Helen, is in a communique said the soldiers were armed with sophisticated weapons and dressed in combat attire, creating a frightful scene for all, especially for patients in the hospital setting. The military requested for a searching for amber boys that were brought for treatment in the hospital that same morning. Going against the Geneva Convention law, which provides minimum protection, standard of human treatment, and fundamental guarantees of respect for individuals who become victims of armed conflicts. The government still maintains conspicuous and provocative silence over the act, despite an official communique informing them of the soldiers' attacks. The hospital director, Reverend Sister Ashoma Helen, also notes that the soldiers threatened to shoot Reverend Sisters and burn down the hospital, contrary to the Geneva Convention, which protects hospitals, schools during armed conflicts.
Now, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, together with Cameroon's Ministries of Environment, Nature Protection and Sustainable Development and the Economic Community of Central African States, today rounded up a two-day workshop. The workshop was aimed at showcasing the role nature can play in the recovery plan of different economies. Audrey Zaza attended the workshop and now reports.
Nature provides Central African countries with the resources needed for economic growth, but long-term well-being can only improve if the stocks and regenerative capacity of natural capital are adequately maintained. Natural capital thus makes up a very large share of total wealth in all economic communities of Central African states and NSAH countries. It is for this reason that the Worldwide Fund for Nature, abbreviated as WWF, in partnership with Cameroon Ministry of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development and EDGARD, organized a two-day expert workshop on the Central African ecological futures and the post-COVID-19 reconstruction from November 18 to 19 in Douala. The workshop aimed at showcasing the role nature can play in the recovery plan of different economies from COVID-19. This could be achieved through effective exploitation and sustainable management of natural capital.
Nowadays, it has been proved that without referring to nature, you won't be able to really build a resilient economy, particularly after this pandemic. If you don't rely on nature, you won't be able. I will take a simple example. You realize that in Cameroon, for instance, some of the solutions to fight COVID was nature-based solution. This is the reason why this hypothesis is verified. We must build on ecological services to be able to raise up after this pandemic.
Boosting investment for nature-based solutions is imperative.
You make the link with a non-nature-based solution. Actually, investment in nature-based solution give a sense to what we're embarked since yesterday. Countries, because they are very much hit actually by the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and it's a slowdown the economy. So one could believe and think that that is very important to really put some money back into, let's say, building and strengthening the sanitary, the health system, building, let's say, the tourism sector, building, I would say, the hotel capacity to accommodation.
Another solution is to adopt ambitious legislation for mandatory ecosystem restoration. However, many hurdles have hindered their large-scale uptake, like implementation delays, a lack of commitment, and biodiversity loss. The WWF, in its mission to conserve nature and reduce threats to the diversity of life on Earth, believes it will be possible to boost the economy by putting in necessary resources to take care of nature. The sessions were attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment, Nature, Protection and Sustainable Development, ECA's member states and international organizations.
Now, officials of the expanded program on immunization have announced a vast immunization campaign against yellow fever. This follows a surge in infections and deaths in the country. Eileen Sima completes the story.
Out of Cameroon's 10 regions, the southwest is the only one not affected with the resurgence of the yellow fever disease. At least 13 deaths and 38 new infections have been recorded according to the Ministry of Health, which now responds to the health crisis with a vaccination exercise built for the days ahead across the national territory. As such, health experts and community mobilizers have been on the field to educate the public on risk factors as well as prevention. To that effect, the Public Health Ministry as well as other partners have been carrying out surveys and detailed field investigations to assess the magnitude of the outbreak of the disease, while equally searching cases in communities and assessing the risks of transmission. However, vaccination campaigns will go on a long way to stop any further spread of the disease. This is according to Dr. Lihinang Li Meng Sylvain, field epidemiologist and senior support staff at the Central Technical Group of Expanded Program on Immunization. He said, yellow fever affects everyone who is not vaccinated. Thus, it is imperative to get vaccinated or more cases of yellow fever may sprout up. According to the World Health Organization, yellow fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic disease transmitted by infected mosquitoes. The yellow in the name refers to the jaundice that affects some patients with relative symptoms like fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, muscle pain, and fatigue. It should be noted here that Cameroon has a current case fatality rate of 21%, and the first case was recorded in the country in January this year. The WHO adds that patients who contract the virus develop severe symptoms, and approximately half of them die within 7 to 10 days. It is worth mentioning that the virus is endemic in tropical areas of Africa, Central and South America.
Now, as part of measures to fight against COVID-19, the governor of the Far North region, Mijiyawa Bakari, has launched a vaccination campaign in Mara of active state agents and those in retirement. Joingang completes the story.
The anti-COVID vaccination campaign launched in the Far North region targets at least 50% of state agents and retired civil servants. With the continuous rise in the number of COVID-19 positive cases and deaths relating to the disease in Cameroon and several parts of the world, volunteers in the Far North region could not hesitate to arm themselves with the vaccines.
What motivated me to get vaccinated today is the widespread of the pandemic in the country. It's better to do it now than to do it at the dying minute. My motivation to immunize myself from the virus is primarily to protect the people around me.
Meanwhile, the Far North Regional Governor urged the state workers to steer clear of the propagation of fake news on social media in order to avoid panic.
Nobody can deny the existence of this disease. It is a reality. Let's stay away from prejudice, from people who say the disease does not exist, or that the vaccine can cause whatever complications.
The governor equally used the occasion to call on the population of the Far North region to put all hands on deck and protect themselves from the new variant of the coronavirus already in circulation in the country.
C'est l'occasion donc de nous mettre à l'abri à travers ce vaccin qui est, comme on l'a répété,
this is an opportunity for us to be safe with the help of this vaccination, which is free. Personally, during the month of Ramadan, I took Sinopharm and I feel quite good, as well as all my collaborators. I call on everyone to get vaccinated, as the latest variant is even more dangerous.
Dit-on, est plus virulente, plus dangereuse.
Vaccination teams have been deployed to various parts of the region to ensure that the maximum targeted number is attained.
As the rainy season draws to a close, inhabitants of the Northwest region welcome grasshoppers, popularly known as Mungwin. Bokengo Water in this report sought to find out why it is so special and consumed by many, as well as its nutritive value. Her report.
Commonly consumed as fried, dried, cooked, spiced insect in some parts of the country, especially the Northwest region. The grasshopper, popularly known as Mungwin, for many decades now have become a rare, seasonal and very much anticipated and delicious food complement.
The way we do them, we take time, we wash them, we bring them, we wash them very well, we cook them. Then after we cook them, we spice them, and then we dry them.
Yes, country, Mungwin sweet. Now Mungwin this for Bamenda, pass it be nutritive. I enjoy my own too, na Mungwin.
Rich in vitamin A, B, C, as well as in protein, the insect also is a rich source of body necessary minerals like zinc, calcium, magnesium, and not void of fat and oil.
That fat will come off for skin. It's a very nice insect to eat.
Being a seasonal delicacy, this insect has found its place in the market as means of livelihood for many.
The amount where we buy, it be according to the quantity we come. When it comes, so when the quantity be high, where it come, the thing they be less. But if it happens, say the quantity it be be to the level it be that means say the quantity is small where it come, we will also buy them high.
Affordable and easy to cook, the insect mostly found in great quantity around Bambli and Bambui, northwest region of the country, is served as treats for loved ones far and near, especially during Christmas season.
Bokengo were the reports in there. Now some Cameroonian judokas have made the nation proud by shining the light beyond Cameroonian borders. They secured medals at the Dakar Judo Open in Senegal's Noraka Kebithouses.
A total number of 4 Cameroonian judokas have secured a medal each at the just-ended Dakar Judo Open in Senegal. The competition, which is now its 5th edition, brings together the best judokas across the continent as well as from Europe. After 2 days of competing, Cameroon won 4 medals, including 1 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze medals. At the end of the entire competition, Team Cameroon was ranked 5th position out of the 17 participating countries. Meanwhile, the host country Senegal is said to have led with 4 gold medals, 5 silver medals and 7 bronze medals. The Cameroonian Judo Association has lauded Cameroon's performance at the Dakar Open and also promised to assist in improving their performance ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics. According to the International Judo Federation classification table published, at the end of the 2 days Dakar Judo Jamboree, bringing together 111 athletes, Team Cameroon is perceived as one of the best on the African judo scenery. For the officials of the Cameroon Judo Federation, the journey has just begun and much is still to be done in order to give Cameroon an excellent performance in the 2024 Paris Olympics.
And news out of Cameroon, we visited Sudan, Uganda and Guinea, where the country's transitional president Mamadi Doumbouya has reiterated his vision of a successful transition of various ministers. Get full details right ahead. We begin today's tour on the African continent in Uganda, where police say they have shot dead 5 suspects and arrested 21 people following twin suicide bombing claimed by IC that killed 3 people. According to police spokesman Fred Enanga, counter-terrorism officers in the west of the country killed 4 suspected terrorists in Toroko who were crossing back to DR Congo, while the 5th suspect was killed near the capital as he tried to escape arrest. Police also arrested 21 suspects as part of a crackdown on the Allied Democratic Forces, an armed group active in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo linked to ISIL. The suicide explosions earlier this week reportedly occurred within minutes of each other, with 2 bombers on motorbikes disguised as border motorcycle taxi riders detonating a device near Parliament, while a 3rd attacker targeted a checkpoint near the Central Police Station. The twin attacks, which killed at least 3 people and injured 33 others, were the latest in a string of attacks in the East African country. From Uganda, we move to Sudan, where Police Chief Lieutenant General Zain Al-Abidine has rejected any involvement in the deaths of protesters. His comment comes after Sudanese forces reportedly shot dead at least 15 anti-coup protesters and wounded dozens, described by medics as the bloodiest since the October 25 takeover. The protesters, mostly young men and women, were shot after they took to the streets across the capital to express their grievances. Speaking in Khartoum, Lieutenant General Zain said infiltrators and saboteurs were behind the violence, which led to the recent killing of at least 15 people after officers fired live rounds during demonstrations on Thursday. We conclude today's tour in Guinea, where the country's transitional president Mamadi Doumbouya has reiterated his vision of a successful transition to his various ministers. He was speaking during the first meeting of ministers, which took place on Thursday, November 18. Mamadi Doumbouya became Guinea's transitional president in October this year after leading a coup on September 5, which saw the overthrow of 83-year-old President Condé. The new government promised making Guinea better while calling on all to work collectively in order to make the country great. We've come to the end of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up at 7 p.m. is Prime Hour with Kum Leonard and his team. My name is Quinter. Have a great weekend in the company of more programs on The African Eye. Stay with us. Good night.